But before we get started, here's a little joke to help loosen you up. Burned my Hawaiian pizza today. Should have cooked it on a low temperature. Try to think about the directions that you give students in class in the same way that you would give them to a friend or loved one who is driving to your home for the first time. You cannot just tell them once and expect them to understand. Now you might say, Brian, most people have GPS in their car or at least on their smartphone. This type of multimodal instruction helps us increase our efficiency and reduces the chance that we're going to get lost. Now you might be thinking, what does this have to do with my classroom? Well, students who are able to follow directions and work independently of the teacher are far more likely to get on with their work and cause less disruption. When students require your help, you must focus on one and not all. And even an efficient verbal prompt takes the teacher about 30 seconds. And unfortunately, it only takes the class about 10 seconds to start getting noisy. So we've got to come up with a way to reduce the duration of corrective feedback to less than 10 seconds. To bring our interactions to under less than 10 seconds in length, we must reduce the verbosity with which we speak. It's said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if your words are getting you into trouble, eliminate the yakety yak. One way to do this is by using a visual instruction plan. A VIP is a lesson plan in visual form. It is a string of visual prompts that provide a clear set of plans for corrective performance. VIPs are a string of visual prompts that provide students with a permanent record of your instruction that can be referred to at will. Because when students don't know what to do, there's no better answer to the question than look at the picture. To give you an idea or a little perspective on VIPs, try to step out of the classroom for a moment. Imagine that you are shopping for a birthday present for a 10-year-old. As you pass a hobby shop, you notice model airplanes in the window, and you decide to buy one. On the box, you see a picture of that model built by a professional. It is perfect. There are no flaws, no bent decals, or glue dripping down the side. Your VIP is like the picture on the box. But when you give the model to a kid, he or she quickly opens the box to see what's inside. And on top of all those parts, those stickers, decals, it's a set of plans for putting the airplane together. Kids need a set of plans because they have never made one of these things before. And most of the times, in your classroom, they've never done what you are doing before. Most teachers use the picture on the box to try to help their students. The picture is called a summary graphic, and most teachers use an example on the board because it summarizes the steps of the procedure. Teachers usually build their summary graphic progressively as they go through the steps of the calculation. But rather than being a good visual aid, it omits most of the information that might come from the visual modality, right? The students are left with a single picture of how the problem should look when it is completed. But there is no path to follow. For strong students, this is no big deal. But for weaker students, it is disastrous. Some will seek help, while others will fail in silence. So we've got to do better than this. Use a set of plans. The objective of a set of plans is to be utterly clear to someone who has never done this task before. Try to think of IKEA, the Swedish furniture giant, who follows the same logic in their directions for assembly. They give things one step at a time, and they accompany each step with a picture, and use minimal reliance on words. IKEA has no idea who will buy their product, They don't know if they have experience with assembly, reading ability, or even mother tongue. But they know that if this piece of furniture doesn't go together right, that customer will never buy another one. And especially for one lesson, if your student can't do the first example problem, they're not going to buy into another. As you can see here, VIPs work great with math problems because they represented equally well with visuals and words. However, as with any good prompt, simplicity produces clarity. So if you make your prompts simple enough, you can use them for every subject. As you can see here, students would probably be able to accomplish this assignment on their own, just having this VIP. However, a VIP is not a substitute for teaching. You would involve students in the step-by-step activity of learning, as you always have. A useful tip is to draw each step on the VIP as you plan to teach it in your classroom. And a very common question that I come across as an ESL teacher is, what do you do if the students cannot read? And the easy answer is, omit words. Again, try to remember that these VIPs supplement your teaching. They don't replace it. So if you are using this lesson plan, imagine that you have taught the students how to carry a chair properly, complete with modeling and practice. A few days later, you see a student dragging a chair across the room. Before that student can whack another kid in the shins with a chair, you intervene. Since you expect such mistakes in the days following training, you post the VIP above where it can be seen easily. Rather than having a verbal interaction with the student, you might simply stop the child, point to the graphic, and wait. Usually, nothing would need to be said. VIPs accelerate learning. By accelerating learning, VIPs greatly reduce your level of frustration. I mean, it's hard to feel a sense of accomplishment when one hand raiser after another says, "I don't get it." A really good idea is to post the VIPs for each subject on the bulletin board, so students can refer to them if they have forgotten something from yesterday or the day before. In fact, you can even give extra credit to a student for making you a neat copy that you can use for posting. In addition, you can also use these VIPs to simplify working with students who have been absent. You can even make 2 or 3 of your best students your catch-up committee and have them tutor the student who has been absent using the VIP. Remember, when the teacher is helping a student during guided practice, the noise level becomes loud in about 10 seconds. Therefore, the teacher must give students all of the help that they need clearly and thoroughly in less than 10 seconds. When faced with this necessity, you'll realize that there's only one way out. Your explanation must be pre-packaged. You've got to substitute pictures for words. And with adequate graphics, the teacher can point out a critical feature of one of the steps, poof, and be gone. Pictures, outlines, mind maps all work well as VIPs. They help us achieve our objective, which is to make independent learners out of helpless hand raisers. Teachers want to be free to work the crowd during guided practice, but as long as you're preoccupied with tutoring the helpless hand raisers instead of working the crowd, goofing off will be rampant, helplessness will be reinforced, and the rest of the class will receive no supervision at all. And the most effective way to reduce the duration of our helping interactions is through the use of visual instruction plans. My suggestion to you is this: use VIPs. They work.